All right, well, I wanted to take a minute to talk about the experience that I had recently on 5-MeO DMT. Why? One, to document the experience because it was so powerful, and two, to help myself integrate the learnings and things into everyday life, which seems to be important. So in preparation, I fasted the day of, removed all stimulants and caffeine from my body for 24, 48 hours, did a hot yoga session the night before, really just trying to lean into intentionality around the experience, right? And then it was about 1:30 on a Friday that I visited my facilitator's home. We had light conversation for 5 or 10 minutes. It was the facilitator and one other participant at the home. And in getting into the ceremony or the practice of taking 5-MeO DMT, we started with some breath work and talking through how to ingest and how to breathe to optimize the intake of the 5-MeO DMT. I'm thankful that the facilitator gave me multiple doses, so light dose to kind of get into the space, a little bit heavier dose to start ramping it up, and then kind of the heavy hitter dose to send me. And I remember inhaling dose number 1, dose number 2, dose number 3. And dose number 3 was like a large inhale, about as much as I could intake, right? And so I remember laying back. And the next thing I remember is I'm standing. And every cell of my body is just experiencing bliss and joy. And I remember saying, yes, yes, love, bliss, enlightenment, and grabbing the other gentleman that was next to me and just, eureka, I found it, kind of energy. Every cell of my body just experiencing collective consciousness. And it wasn't that I didn't exist, my ego didn't exist. It was, if you're familiar with duality, it was the elimination of duality, or the experience of non-duality, right? Of godlike consciousness or collective consciousness and the individual being one and the same. And in that moment, it was such a gift, such a gift and a responsibility. It was it was very clear to me that this is what we should be aiming towards. This is the North Star for consciousness. And with that comes responsibility. I feel responsible to share this and to pursue this. And I remember the facilitator, because it was a high peak, right? And as soon as I started to come down from that in this relatively fast experience, I mean, we're talking about over the course of 15, 20, 30 minutes, right? As soon as I started to come down, I noticed my mind starting to panic a little bit, anxiety starting to set in. And I looked at the facilitator and I just said, help me. And I remember her embrace and her saying, thank you for existing. Thank you for doing this work. And that meant so much to me. There was a level of affirmation of the gift that I had just received and the responsibility associated with it. And she had me lie down, which was a very good choice. I was aware of my elevated heart rate, my restricted breath pattern. So she just guided me like, go in, focus on breath. And it took me a few minutes to bring that back to a regulated breath and slowing the heart rate. And you know, afterwards I was emotional, you know, tears of joy, laughing. This moment of power, you know. And I just graduated with my MBA recently, and the quote that really stood out to me from the commencement ceremony was, "When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace." And this was the power of love. It was the greatest power. Yes, I just remembered every cell of my body. Yes, this. It's been 4 days since that experience. I'm incredibly lucky and fortunate to have community members and family and friends that I can share this experience with, and they don't look at me as crazy. They're open-minded, right? So that has been incredibly valuable and necessary because the experience was so intense, so the most mystical spiritual experience of my life. And I'm no novice to psychedelics or meditation and breath work or spirituality. I'm no guru, but I'm no novice either. And so again, for me, it's like finding, you know, that North Star is very clear to me. The goal, the vision, the result, the place to aim for, right, is so clear. What's not is how to integrate that into everyday life in the way that I show up. How do I embody that in my conversations with the people around me? How do I bring this into the world? How do I share this gift? How do I become the best channel, the best vehicle for this? And I'm learning that a lot of it is removing myself, removing my ego. It's getting out of the way of this. It has plenty of power in it of itself. It's about me. Removing ego, removing my own try so hard to make this. I don't need to force it. I need to remove myself and let it channel. So that's what I'm going to continue to try to do.